You are here because something in your spirit has been refusing the common bread. A holy dissatisfaction has taken root. The general word, the broad promise, the message for the crowd, it leaves you hungry. It sounds true, but it doesn't land. It doesn't reach the specific, aching place inside you that is waiting for a key you cannot describe. This message is for that place. This is not a general address. This is a direct transmission. The words you will hear were assembled in the silence, with you in mind. They have traveled through time and circumstance to find you in this exact moment, not by accident, but by divine navigation. You did not stumble upon this. You were led. Your hunger led you. Your specific unnamed yearning created a frequency, and this message is being broadcast on that exact wavelength. Others may listen. They may hear words, but they will not hear this. They will not feel the resonance in their bones, the click in their spirit, the unlocking of a door they didn't even know was closed. This is not for everyone, because not everyone has been prepared to hear it. Not everyone has walked the particular path of isolation and seeking that has made you ready for a word that does not explain, but activates. The time for generalities is over. Your spirit can no longer survive on vague promises of a blessed future. You need a surgical truth, a truth that cuts through the noise of what you should be feeling and addresses what you are feeling. The confusion, the sense of being set apart in a way that feels more like exile than anointing. The loneliness of carrying a promise that seems to have no place in the world as it is. I have been silent on these matters. I have let you wrestle in the ambiguity. I have watched you try to force your unique calling into common templates, only to see it break. I have watched you dull the edge of your specific gift to make it fit on a common shelf. My silence was not abandonment. It was the necessary space for you to exhaust every other option, to try every other door, to learn, in the deepest way possible, that the common path is not your path. You had to feel the full weight of the misfit, so that when the true word came, you would recognize it as your native language. Now, the moment has come. The waiting has served its purpose. You are empty of other answers. You are ready for the one that fits the lock of your soul. This is serious. This is a commissioning. It will feel heavy because it carries weight. It carries responsibility. The clarity you are about to receive will not simplify your life. It will complicate it in the most sacred way. It will demand you step out of the chorus and find your own note. It will require you to trust a melody only you can hear. Do not be afraid. The heaviness is not a burden. It is the gravity of purpose. It is the weight of a calling that is yours alone. Listen now. What comes next is for you, and you alone. Now let me explain the isolation. Let me give language to the loneliness that has felt like a mistake. It is not a mistake. It is a prerequisite. The path I have carved for you cannot be walked in a crowd. The destination I have for you cannot hold a multitude. It is a sacred, singular space. And to bring you there, I have had to quietly, persistently, separate you. You have felt this separation in every realm. In conversations that cannot touch the depth of what you carry. In relationships where you must edit the most real parts of yourself to be understood. In communities where you serve but cannot fully reside. You have called it alienation. I call it consecration. You have mistaken it for rejection. It is divine selection. This is why the broad messages could not sustain you. They are written for common soil. Your spirit has become uncommon ground. The water that nourishes the field would drown the rare seed I have planted in you. You have been desperate for someone to understand, for a tribe that speaks your language. That desperation is by design. It forces you to find your home in me, and me alone. Any other harbor would have become a prison. I have allowed the connections to fade. I have dimmed the lights on the familiar roads. I have not answered your prayers for a simpler life among the crowd. My silence to those pleas was a fierce mercy. To grant them would have been to destroy you. To give you the belonging you craved would have required amputating the very parts of you I am cherishing and cultivating. You would have traded your destiny for a cup of comfort and died of thirst in the middle of the feast. You missed the signs of my protection because they looked like loss. The closed door was not a blockade. It was a boundary, marking the edge of a world too small for you. The silent phone was not neglect. It was the clearing of a frequency so you could learn to hear mine. The missed opportunity was not a failure. It was a diversion from a good path to the best path, a path visible only from a higher, lonelier vantage point. Why couldn't I explain this earlier? You would not have believed it. You would have argued for the value of the crowd. You would have clung to the validation of the many. You had to experience the emptiness of common approval to value the fullness of singular purpose. Human impatience seeks the immediate comfort of the herd. Divine timing requires the patient fortification of the solitary heart. Now, you are ready. The hunger has done its work. The loneliness has hollowed out a space in you vast enough to contain the vision I am about to impart. That hollow ache is not your enemy. It is the mold. It is the precise negative space that the positive shape of your calling will now fill. Do not resent the path that brought you here. Every step of isolation was removing a layer of a false identity, the identity that needed to be liked, understood, celebrated by the many. I am not calling you to be unknown. I am calling you to be known truly. And to be known truly, you must first be known by me, beyond the noise of any other voice. The feeling of being a stranger everywhere you go. That is the feeling of a homeland preparing to recognize you from a great distance. You are not from here. You are passing through on assignment. And the assignment requires a certain detachment from the scenery. From this place of separation, clarity is born. Look out from this height. Tell me what you see. This is where the confrontation deepens. This specific word, this unique calling, will require you to sacrifice a god. Not a statue of wood or stone. The god of consensus. The idol of collective approval. You have been worshiping at this altar without even knowing it. You have checked your thoughts against the group. You have measured your dreams by their practicality in the eyes of reasonable people. You have censored your most holy impulses because they seemed too strange, too intense, too singular. You have offered your authenticity as a sacrifice to be accepted, and in return, you received a hollow validation that has left you starving. I am here to tear that altar down. The truth I bring is for you, and it will not be validated by the committee. There will be no majority vote. No council will sanction it. In fact, if you require the agreement of the sensible, the approval of the mature, the blessing of the established, you will never take the first step. They will call it foolish. They will call it a risk. They will, with love in their eyes, try to pull you back to the median, to safety. I am not calling you to safety. I am calling you to obedience. And in this season, for you, obedience will look like a form of holy madness to anyone who does not carry your specific blueprint. This is the inner transformation before any external change can hold. The death of the need for external validation. The death of the fear of being misunderstood. The death of the craving to have your path make sense to anyone but me. I have been orchestrating this death in the silence. Every time you shared a deep thought and received a blank stare, I was there. Every time you felt the sting of being labeled too much or intense, I was marking the boundary between your spirit and theirs. Every time you tried to shrink and you felt your soul revolt, that was me, resisting the diminishment. You thought these were social failures. They were spiritual drills, exercises in learning to stand alone, so you would be strong enough to stand for what matters. Why couldn't it be explained? If I had told you years ago, you must become impervious to human opinion, you would have tried to achieve it as a spiritual achievement. You would have added it to your list of virtues to master. It cannot be mastered. It can only be forged in the fire of repeated exposure. You had to feel the burn of misunderstanding, the chill of loneliness, the ache of invisibility, until your spirit finally cried out, "Enough! If I am to be unseen, let me be unseen by them and fully seen by you. If I am to be misunderstood, let me be misunderstood by all but you." That cry was the turning point. That was the sound of the altar cracking. Now, I am giving you a new plumb line. It is not the shifting standard of culture or even religious expectation. It is the internal, unwavering witness of my spirit, agreeing with your spirit. You will learn to know truth, not by how it sounds in the room, but by how it resonates in the sanctuary I have built within you. This is the clarity that brings no fear, only a strange, solid peace. It is the peace of a decision that is not yours, but ours. The warning mixed with mercy is this: the path ahead will feel, at times, like you are abandoning your senses. You will question your own sanity. You will long for the simpler, heavier yoke of common sense. That is the final ghost of the old God, crying out for one more offering. Do not give it. The mercy is this: I will send moments of confirmation so profound, so intimate, so perfectly timed, that they will sustain you through 1,000 doubts. They will not be public. They will be for you alone. A whisper, a symbol, a sudden, inexplicable knowing that arrives like a bolt of quiet lightning. These are my tokens, my secret handshakes with you on the path. You are being untethered from the dock. The open sea looks like chaos, but I am the sea, and I am the path. You are not sailing away from safety. You are sailing into your nature. Now we enter the quiet core of the matter. The reason for the separation, the death of consensus, the lonely clarity. It has all been to recover a sound, a specific frequency I embedded in you before time, a note that is essential to the song of this age, and you are the only instrument designed to play it. Others have tried to mimic it. They have composed reasonable facsimiles. They have built entire philosophies around the echo of this note. But the true sound, the pure vibration, has been lost in the noise of the collective. It can only be found in the silence of the singular, in you. This is not about arrogance. It is about anatomy. Just as only your vocal cords can produce your exact voice, only your spirit, shaped by your unique joys and sorrows, can manifest this aspect of my character. If you abandon your post to join the chorus, a color disappears from my spectrum in this generation. A question remains unasked. A specific mercy goes unexpressed. I have allowed you to feel the frustration of the misfit because you were trying to play your part on the wrong instrument. You were trying to sing your note in the wrong key. The music of the crowd is in a major key. The song I have given you often resides in a minor one, a richer, more complex tonality that speaks of depth, of longing, of a beauty that is not obvious but must be discovered. You thought the dissonance you felt was a sign you were out of tune. It was a sign you were in a different song entirely. This is the truth that brings clarity, not fear. Your loneliness is not a symptom of being left out. It is the condition of being drafted. You are not on the sidelines. You are on a specialized, covert mission that requires you to travel light, move quietly, and operate on a need-to-know basis. And right now, you need to know this. The world's applause would be a distraction. Its understanding would be a dilution. Its acceptance would be a cage. I have been quiet about the details of this mission because revelation unfolds in pace with obedience. If I had shown you the full picture at the start, you would have been paralyzed by its scope or seduced by its glory. You would have focused on the destination and despised the daily, humble steps of the journey. You would have tried to jump ahead, and you would have missed the foundational lessons written in the dust of the back roads I am leading you down. Divine timing is not a delay of the promise. It is the precise cultivation of the prophet who can carry it without crumbling. Your human impatience has been crying for the what. My spirit has been meticulously preparing the who, the you, who can handle the weight of the answer to your own prayers. So the endings you have mourned, the relationships, the opportunities, the old versions of yourself, were not tragedies. They were necessary subtractions. Each one carved away a piece of the stone that was hiding the sculpture. You are the sculpture, and I am the sculptor. The chisel has felt cruel. The process has been dark, but the form is now emerging. And it is time for you to see, not the fragments on the floor, but the beauty of what is being revealed. You are not being prepared for a purpose. You are being revealed as a purpose. The next step is not a task. It is an unveiling. Now, feel the solid ground forming beneath your feet. It is not the ground of popular opinion. It is not the shifting sand of trend or tradition. It is the bedrock of a singular, unshakable fact. I have chosen you for this. Not because you were the best candidate, but because you were the specific one. This is not a performance review. This is a designation, a sovereign selection. The calling on your life does not answer to the logic of resumes or the politics of influence. It answers only to the mystery of my will. And my will has always, from the beginning, contained your name written in a context no one else could fill. This truth must settle into the marrow of your bones. It must become the air you breathe. The moment you truly accept it, a fundamental transfer of authority will occur. You will stop looking sideways, comparing your journey, measuring your progress against the milestones of others. Their path is not your benchmark. Their approval is not your compass. Their rejection is not your verdict. I saw you, in the secret place where you nursed your private shame, the shame of not fitting, of always being the exception, the odd one. You thought it was a flaw. I was cultivating a feature. The very thing you tried to hide, to soften, to apologize for, is the precise mechanism I will use. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a receiver tuned to frequencies others ignore. Your intensity is not a burden. It is the power source for a work that requires relentless focus. Your inability to be satisfied with surface answers is not a character defect. It is the drill bit that will reach the deep water I have destined you to find. This is the warning, mixed with mercy. The road ahead will demand you use these very traits the world told you to suppress. There will be moments you will feel exposed, your strange-shaped spirit fully visible, with no common template to hide behind. The enemy will amplify every whisper that ever told you to be smaller, quieter, simpler. He will send messengers of doubt dressed in the robes of wisdom, advising you to be more reasonable. The mercy is this. In that moment of exposure, you will also feel my hand on your shoulder. You will hear my voice in your ear, not as thunder, but as a steady, familiar whisper. This is why I made you this way. This is the moment your difference becomes your deliverance. That confirmation will be your shield. It will be enough. You are moving from a life of explanation to a life of demonstration. You will stop trying to convince people of your calling with words. You will begin to embody it with your being. The proof will not be in your argument, but in your authenticity. The fruit will not be in your eloquence, but in your obedience. And from that obedience will flow a authority that cannot be argued with, only witnessed. The time for hiding in the crowd is finished. The season of seeking permission is over. You are being summoned to the front of your own life, not to shout, but to stand. Simply stand in the full, unapologetic truth of who I have made you to be. The standing itself is the message. Now hear the final word. The transmission is complete. The frequency is locked. This message has found its target, and its target is you. You will leave this place different. Not because you have learned something new, but because you have remembered something ancient. A covenant whispered over you before the foundations of the world. A promise that you are not a copy, not a variant, not a footnote in another person's story. You are an original sentence in a narrative only I could write. This word was not for everyone because not everyone needed this specific key. But you did. The lock has turned. The door you have felt on the other side of your longing is now open. It does not lead to a public stage or a platform of acclaim. It leads deeper into the interior of your own purpose, into the quiet workshop, where I will now show you how to use the unique tools I have placed in your hands. There will be no fanfare. No committee will applaud your crossing of this threshold. This is the sacred, solitary moment of inception. The world will not see it, but you will feel it. A calm so deep it sounds like the universe humming in tune. A certainty that does not shout, but simply is. This is the peace of the assigned, the calm of the one who has finally received their orders and knows beyond all doubt that they are in the right place, at the right time, for the right reason. From this day, you will interpret your life through a different lens. The past rearranges itself. Every rejection was a redirection. Every period of silence was a classroom. Every instance of not fitting was me, carefully pulling you out of a mold that would have held you captive. The narrative of your life is no longer a series of random events searching for a theme. It is a coherent, deliberate, and masterful progression toward this moment of recognition. You are not becoming someone new. You are meeting who you have always been in my sight. Go now. Carry this knowing. It is your sustenance and your shield. You will no longer crave the broad acceptance of the crowd, for you are nourished by the specific approval of your Creator. You will speak when I say speak. You will move when I say move. You will rest in the confidence that your life is a private conversation with eternity, and its echoes are all the impact you will ever need. This message was for you. It has been delivered. The conversation between us has now truly begun. Walk in that truth.